So they'd also, I've just remembered the story. So they'd always have to bring ID when they came to the studio. And the runners would get their ID and stuff. A lot of them didn't have ID because, like, you don't have a passport.
Drug addict.
Yeah, don't have a passport or I mean, a driving license because most of them, pretty much all of them don't work.
Could you not use the kids tattooed on their arms?
No. So, well, I would say if they've not got any of that, I would say bring a letter with your name on. And this lad, he was only just turned 18, still lived at home. I'd never had a bill. You know what I mean? He's like, I've not got any letters. No one, I've never had, don't need him. I was like, just bring something with your name on. I'll take anything as long as he's got your name on. And he brought a birthday card.
Did you take it?
Yeah, I took it, yeah. Didn't tell the bosses, but I took it. And it was, the worst thing was, it was from his mum, and his mum was the person he was arguing with.
That's so funny.
Content warning. Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is not suitable for all audiences, and viewer/listener discretion is advised. For example, if, when you just heard the term ladies and gentlemen, you immediately thought about how exclusionary it is, then it's probably best you turn this off now.
Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Dead Men Talking with me, Rob Mulholland, as ever. Him, a big fat cunt, and little not gay Tom.
Hello.
How are you doing, Tom?
I'm very nervous today.
Yeah, it's a very
I'll tell you what, if
one.
you are nervous, one thing that you can do is you can have a little drink to calm your nerves.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have just been sent a crate of liquid death, which is a beverage that absolutely does not taste of cum.
No, if you want your water to not taste of cum, liquid death.
Now, I know quite a lot of people, Rob,
Yeah.
who actually love the taste of cum.
Yeah.
Your mum. And she hates liquid death.
Yeah.
She goes, it's just not cummy
enough. It's not for her.
It's not cummy enough.
It's not cummy
It's
enough.
not cummy enough.
She drinks exclusively cum.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she's on an all cum diet.
Yeah. You're like pandas and bamboo.
Yeah.
She does that with a dick, just chewing it like that.
She has it like Huel. She sees it as a meal replacement shake.
Liquid Death actually wanted to sponsor your mum, didn't they? But she said no.
Yeah, she said no. She's sponsored by cum. I'm sorry.
Wait, don't they do vapes?
It's pronounced Cume.
Why? Can we not fuck up two sponsors at once? Can we just... It's bad enough we're ruining one. Fucking hell.
She also loves Adult Cum Finder.
You've stressed me out now. I need to puff on my cube.
Cumscapes.
Fucking hell. Anyway, let's get to... Stop deflecting, Tom.
When she goes on the internet, she just serve cum. Cum shark.
So...
It's quite nice, though, this liquid death, isn't it?
Lovely.
It's
Right.
Water.
Moving on from liquid death to the death of Tom's career.
Hello.
So there's been a little thing that since we started this podcast with Tom, since we brought Tom on board, there's been a thing that we've not talked about because we haven't been able to get into the meat of.
No, but now the child's 18.
Now the child's 18 and can be legally named, we can talk about the allegations. Now, Tom...
Malala.
Yeah, shagged her in the head hole.
Fucking hell.
What?
The head hole, is that just the mouth?
No. Right. Well, I've done a bad thing, but luckily Tom's done much worse. So this is about to make me look quite good. So basically, we've made little like references to Tom's previous career, but we've never actually been explicit about it, have we?
No.
Tom, do you want to tell the people watching and listening what your job before this was?
Not anymore. I really regret to say that I was going to do it now. No, so I've worked in TV for like 12 years. I think that's coming to an end now. I've been a producer for a long time. And what you're really excited about is I used to work on the Jeremy Kyle show.
Now, excited is, I would say, the wrong word, because I don't know if you know this, but I did not want to hire you
Really?
Yeah,
Because of that?
Yeah, 100%. Because it's like someone going like, "Oh, we need a security guard." I've got a guy who used to work at Auschwitz. It's like, for
Wait
me-
a minute.
Fantastic security.
Wait a minute.
They were fucking efficient.
Yeah.
I don't think they had security guards.
In a way,
At
I think they had
Auschwitz.
some security.
No. I think, they had some security,
Yeah.
but they had soldiers. They didn't have one guy with a walkie-talkie monitoring the CCTV.
You don't know this.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't.
this feels like a digression. We don't need to. You understand me point.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want to hire because I was like, that's fucked up. I don't want a Jeremy Kyle producer on this. Then I met you, and it turns out you're way worse than I expected. But it wasn't just that. You've worked on loads of other things,
I worked
but
on a lot of
like
things, yeah. Not just
Jeremy Kyle's like the mental one.
That's the one that everyone wants to speak about when I say that I work in TV.
Yeah.
It's
People
kind of
really-
because of the one that it's where all the people killed themselves.
Yeah, it's a really famous show, and it's like, people hate it and love it, and
Yeah. So, shall we do, in case anyone is not aware of Jeremy Kyle and has somehow landed on this episode?
yeah, it could be foreign people. So it's like Jerry Springer, but UK.
Yeah, like really a really aggressive, angry man would shout at poor, thick people.
Yeah, it's very exploitative, and they get a lot of chavs on and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a middle-class guy shouting at thick idiots.
Yeah.
And just destroyed him in an argument.
And it was idiots going on thinking they could beat Jeremy Kyle in an argument, and they couldn't.
Yeah, and there was a lot of they would do lie detector tests and DNA and all that stuff, and I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll get into all of that.
Oh yes.
But I guess we start from the beginning with
Right.
this.
I'll tell you what, the beginning would be, why would you not want to talk about this? Because you haven't worked there in a while. So what's the risk for you for talking about it?
Honestly, working on Jeremy Kyle was like being brainwashed. Genuinely, like a lot of my friends don't speak about it even to other producers because of like fear. There's like this really weird culture where everyone was just terrified of speaking out about it when you worked there, and even when you left. It was actually quite bad, like what happened to all the people who worked there. Even though we did bad shit.
Yes, of course, you guys are the victims.
No, like
No, but I do, I believe that. It was a
yeah.
very fucked up thing from top to
Yeah.
bottom. Like, yeah.
So I started working on it in 2013, I think. I worked on it for a year.
Yeah. So it's already well established by that point.
Yeah,
the show.
I think it was like 9 years. I think I worked on it for the 10th anniversary. So I'll just tell you how
Were
it
you
works.
excited to work on Jamie Kyle originally?
No, I didn't want to work on it first. So I'd done a few other jobs in TV before that. I started in development at ITV, where you come up with new shows and stuff, which was class. And then I worked on You've Been Framed, which was also class. And then I did a few jobs that I hated. And then I wanted to get back into ITV, and I was struggling to get some TV work. I was out of work for like 3 months. And then the Jeremy Kyle thing came up, and I was like, I'll do this for a couple of weeks. And then because I'm at ITV, I'll get another job somewhere. But I couldn't because they keep you in there. They don't let you leave. They don't let you move around and stuff. So I was stuck there for a year. But for a while, to be fair, I really enjoyed it. But then eventually I hated it.
Yeah, but that was sort of their move, wasn't it? I watched that documentary about it, and it was the producers on that were talking about how it was often people who were trying to get away into the industry. They would often they had far more working class producers than you normally get in TV. People who were struggling to get jobs, who were trying to get the career going, and they're like, right, we can fucking
then you're in
these
then.
people.
Then you're in, and what they do as well, they promote people really quick. So so you'd start off as a runner, and then junior researcher, assistant producer, and you could be an assistant producer on Jeremy Kyle after like 2 years, where really in other TV it'd take you like 6 or 7 years to do that. So people didn't want to leave because if they left, it would be a demotion. So they'd be just assistant producers, but only on Kyle. Really, you couldn't be an assistant producer in something else.
But surely for all the other producers, when you go, "Hi, I'm a producer," it's like, on Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. So if you were a producer on Kyle,
you're not really
you'd
a
have
producer.
you'd have to get. You wouldn't be able to get a producer if that was your only job.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to be a producer on something else.
It's like getting into
Unless-
porn
unless
because you
you
want to
were
be in the movies.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that. Where it's like, I want to be in mainstream film, so I'm starting in porn.
Yeah,
But it's actually the thing that will stop you getting into mainstream. Yeah.
That was exactly it. So it's like a.
It's not it's like if you're hiring in TV, when you're looking through someone's CV, you're not like, well, that's clearly a high quality producer.
Yeah.
But I would say that there was definitely a stigma with that when I left Kyle. There was be a lot of people who look down on it and say it's not a proper show or it's not a proper thing compared to other shows. And that's true. It's a really specific kind of show. But if I was hiring someone and they'd worked on Jeremy Kyle for a year, I would hire them because I know that they're the hardest working people in the world. It is honestly the hardest job. of all time.
Yeah,
They
those idiots
can't-
won't kill themselves. Oh no, they will.
So the way it worked,
Just ringing up people on benefits and spreading gossip about them and their neighbours. It's a 24-hour job.
well, it is a very hard. So the way it works is, I'd go in on a Monday. You'd have a team of 4. There's like 6, 7 teams of 4, and each team had to make 1 show a week, right? So you film it. We would film on a Friday, and on Monday you come in and you'd have no show. And my job was to find people to go on it and convince them to go on it. And so Monday and Tuesday,
You were at the front line.
Oh yeah, massive front line. So Monday and Tuesday, you do normal hours. You do like 9 till 6, whatever. Wednesday, you do 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. where you're just on the phones constantly. Thursday, you do 9 a.m. till like 4 or 5 a.m. So you're working all through the night, and then you're in 8 a.m. the studio, and you've got your guests then, and you've got like G them up, so you got to have loads of energy and stuff.
So how'd you G them up?
When they're in the studio,
Yeah, how'd you G them up?
So basically,
Let's go through the week fully first. I think, like, you know,
Okay.
So if someone wanted to go on, so the way you find people to go on, it wasn't like we'd just ring up random people. Obviously, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
What would happen is people would text in the number and they just leave their name or whatever. I would ring that person and say, you texted ITV, what is it we can help you with? And they'd be like, I want to see my kid more. My ex won't let me have access, whatever.
Yeah, and if any of the texts were spelt correctly, they're like not thick enough.
Yeah. Did you get
else.
many pranks?
Sometimes, but not really. The most people that text in actually wanted to go on the show. Some people would come up with fake stories, but you could tell they were fake and they wouldn't get on. All the stories, to my knowledge, that were on Kyle were real. Like,
right, okay.
So I spoke to a guy and he's like, my ex won't let me see my missus. My missus won't let me see my kid, whatever. So then I would get her number, and my job then, because he wants to come on already.
Yeah.
The hard bit is convincing her to go on.
Sure.
So you got to go. But straight away, you got to get all the details from him as much as possible, and then as soon as you speak to that person, you've got to be totally on their side. Maybe even slag the other person off a bit, because you've got to be like, I'm on your side. This sounds disgusting. I can't believe he's rang up. It should have been you ringing us. Anyway, we've had a cancellation. Every week you'd say, we've got a cancellation this week because that made people want to go on.
The more time that they have to think about it, the more I guess that people will get in their ear and go, this is a dreadful idea.
Yeah, people would drop out all the time. You couldn't. There's no way you could have someone. You could book someone for the next week. It had to be that week. And most of the time, it'd be Wednesday and Thursday. Really, you book them. Like the Monday and Tuesday, if you booked them, then they drop out.
Yeah.
So there's no point. So then when you speak to the second person, you get them on. Then you've got to get more people on, because the more people you have on, the better the show is, right? So you say, have you got any mates? What does your mum think about this? And you just get everyone on. You got to do like loads of checklists to make sure they're not like too mental, although a lot of them.
Can I ask? Because there's a bit that's been skipped here. Other than getting like pretending to be on her side, are there any other tricks that you would use to try and get her on the show?
That's basically it, really. You've got like, this was bad, really. But if it was a kid thing like that, I would say, well, we've got all these experts that can help you, so you'll be doing it for your kid, really. So that's kind of
I felt that.
Yeah,
I felt that then.
You mean that's
Don't do it for you. Do it for your kid.
Come get a fake lie detector and get shouted at for your kid, because I'm sure it'd be a great day for them on school on Monday.
Did you?
The worst thing I ever did was, this wasn't on Kyle, this is on Judge Rinder, which was more about money and stuff. People could go and get money. And someone cancelled because their granddad had died, right? And they couldn't come on that week. And I said, well, maybe me ringing you is a sign from him.
Oh my God, Tom. See, this is the thing, right?
They went with it as well. They were like, yeah, that could be it, actually. But they didn't come on. They still didn't come on, but they went with it.
Before I die, I want my grandson to sort out that £500 loan that he gave to his friend.
Ideally,
we'll talk about Rinder
at about
later.
10:30 a.m. on a Wednesday. Like, that is fucking hell. That is brutal.
Did you ever? I mean, you're emotionally playing with people. Did you ever straight up lie to people to get them on the show? Did you ever say to them, look, if you come on the show, then this and this and this will happen, knowing that that's what they wanted, but you knew that that probably wasn't going to happen?
Yeah, more or less. You'd say, like, this could happen, and we've got experts that will help you. And there were experts that could help them, but most of the times those people didn't take the help. So everyone got offered therapy or counselling or whatever after the show. Everyone who wanted it could have it. but 99% of people, even who said they wanted it, just didn't turn up. So, to be fair, we did help some people. Like, there's a lot of addicts that came on that got like rehab and got clean and stuff, and that was good. Although we reunited some like long lost family and stuff, that was good.
Sure.
But there's a lot of people who did not get help, and it made their lives worse. Certainly.
And like, how easy was it to take them up on the offer of this help? Because it's one thing going like, yeah, you can have therapy, but it's near the studio.
No.
It
There's like a website they would use where it would find counselling within their area, find the closest one to him. We'd even pay transport and stuff, but people just didn't take up on it most of the time.
Probably didn't trust you anymore.
Yeah, the biggest lie that I used to tell was that I'd say, I've spoke to Jeremy, he's already on your side. I never spoke to Jeremy.
Yeah.
That's a lie. That was just a lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the thing is, like, looking back now, it was definitely manipulative and exploitative show. But when you're in it, you're under so much pressure to book people. The pressure is insane. Like, you literally get told, if you don't book in, you're getting sacked. And if you get sacked from here, you'll be blacklisted and you'll probably never work in TV again. So you're just constantly like just in this massive fear.
Is that true? Would that actually happen?
No, it wouldn't, but that's what they would tell you.
And you don't know that.
So they're literally doing to you what you're doing.
Yeah.
It just gets passed down the chain.
As researchers and stuff, and the lower you are working on it, maybe the runners are all right because they're just in studio, but the research and stuff, they're getting as exploited as the others. It's just that we're getting paid, but getting paid shit. The money was rubbish, especially for the hours you're doing, because you're doing like 70, 80-hour weeks, whatever, and you're getting less than minimum wage.
What are you getting a year? What's your salary?
I think when I was a junior researcher, it was less than 20 grand.
Oh,
when I started on Jerry Kyle,
oh,
it went up as I got promoted and stuff, but not loads. It was one of the lowest paid shows to work on.
But in my head, I was like 25k or less is ridiculous.
There were producers on 25 grand.
People are desperate to work in TV and to have that title.
There were
and
producers on 25 grand.
So I heard. Someone told me he knew what all the producers were on, and he said one of them was on 25. That producer had only worked on that, and I think they had rich parents, and they'd only worked on that, and they just kept on going and going and going, and that kind of it backfired on a lot of them when the show got cancelled, because if they'd worked on that show only for 10 years, you really struggled to get another TV job after that.
Yeah.
I only did it for a year purposely. I was like, I have to leave this. Firstly, my mental health was fucked, and I was thinking about walking into traffic on the way into work rather than work. So
were you?
Yeah, that's why I quit. I had like a proper breakdown because I was really good at it. I was like genuinely like I was the best at booking the guest, and then eventually I realized that the lie detectors was all bullshit. And so I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, so like that was the thing I was interested in actually, was like how much, because obviously for like people listening and watching, they might not be aware, because if you've just seen about lie detectors on TV, you might think they're real. They are. They're a guess. They are useless. They're not admissible evidence in court.
This is where I can chime in and be interesting.
Yeah.
My dissertation was on the lexical diversity of deception. And it was on when people tell lies, whether or not they use wider lexical sets or smaller. But anyway, part of my research on that was about the ineffectiveness of lie detectors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did my dissertation in like 2010. Yeah. And bear in mind, Jeremy Kyle had been on TV for years and years. And part of the reason that I did the dissertation was lie detector tests and stuff like that. And you only have to take a 5-minute Google before people are like, oh no, it's chance. It can be so easily manipulated.
I think it said on screen on the show that it was like between 90 and 94.
Yeah. Although this is disputed.
Honestly, I think it's 50-50.
Oh, it is.
I stopped booking them because I was like, I can't.
I'll tell you what it is. Lie detectors are, first of all, they're actually named really misleadingly because they don't detect lies. What they do is they detect tiny little changes in your body that could mean you're lying.
But they stress detectors.
But they could also
ironic that they're lying about their own name.
But they he hooked himself up to his own machine and exploded. They could also mean a shitload of other things. If you turn a temperature up just half a degree in a room, you'll get those same reactions. If a fit woman comes in and you go, oh, she's all right, your heart rate might quicken a little bit. You might sweat a little bit. And that just on like a really tiny level.
People totally believed in him. There was a woman who rang up once, right? And she said she wanted to come on because she saw a ghost, right? and her husband didn't believe her. And she wanted to come on to prove that ghosts exist. I was like, this isn't a truth machine.
Even if it worked, even if a lie detector works, all it would prove is that she believes it.
That she
even if it
knows.
did work.
Yeah.
But that was what I was interested in, though. Like, so I assume you just hadn't Googled it and you'd just taken the information you'd been given about.
Yeah, I was
it
just
at the
like,
time.
yeah, fine. I'll
Fine,
believe
90%, cool.
And to be fair, the lie detector ones were the easiest ones to book because, say, if you came on and you're like, I think my missus cheated on me, the chances are you two have spoke and said, we have to go. The only way I'm going to stay with you is if you prove it on Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah.
So they're really easy to book because it's just two people. Blah 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 blah. The hard ones are when there's like when they're not even on speaking terms.
Yeah.
Because one of the people who you have to have doesn't even know that the other one's applied. So they're the difficult ones to do.
Sure.
But there was it was like a sales job, really.
Yeah,
it's like the
it
hardest.
sounds
It's
it,
like
yeah.
the most difficult sales job ever.
Yeah.
But even so far as I was like,
'Cause
there was like a leaderboard of
fuck.
like so if you had the best story or the best show or the most stories, you got points on leaderboard. You get like prizes at the
This
end.
is
and stuff.
exactly how sales jobs work.
Yeah.
And, like,
Exactly,
Oh, yeah, I know
I've
that.
They
had
take
hard
on-
sales jobs, but I've never been trying to convince someone to fuck their life up.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, what exchange rate was points to human misery?
Yeah. If
Well,
someone
it was-
killed themselves, did they cut your tie off? Ring a bell. Ding, 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 ding. Tom's got the suicide bell today.
Yeah, they make him wear a jacket that's red for blood.
it was more like so.
Oh, do they make you wear like a customary noose? You get to wear the sales noose all week. Fuck, it's grim.
So
What could you win? You said you could win stuff.
it went like vouchers and stuff.
Like a £20 love to shop voucher
pretty much,
for
yeah.
killing. Oh my god!
I got a £100 voucher. I finished top of the leaderboard, so I got a £100 voucher. Like I said, I was really good at it. So the main part you wanted to book is the part 1 and 2. The first parts of the show, 1 and 2. That's your big story. If you get part 1 and 2, that's loads of points. Part 3, less points. Part 4, not many points. When I went there, it was really hard to book a full show because you've got to juggle all these things. It's hard to do. When I went there, no one had ever booked 2 full shows in their career, and I booked 3 in a row. I was genuinely amazing at it. That's why I loved it. But then when I realised how actually bad it was that I was doing, I was like, oh shit, I need to.
I imagine it's one of those things where it's like it's the lobster in the pot thing where it gets gradually worse, and also just like the Wile E. Coyote running off a cliff thing where you don't look down, you're just doing, then eventually you go, oh fuck, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Did
This is like chatting to daytime TV's Robert Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Feels like, have you ever seen a documentary about a non-offending paedophile?
Yeah. Of course, I know.
I have
it's
these
bad.
urges, but I control them.
So the way you start when you first go in, you just get told. So the people that go on the show are called guests. They're always called guests, right? And you go the guests
As opposed to cattle, morons.
You
fodder.
might call them contributors or contestants on other shows or whatever, but they're just called guests. But all the time, everyone's like, "Oh, the guests, you can't trust them. You got to do this. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. They're bad people." And like straight away, and you believe it. So you're like, "Oh yeah, it's us against them. We've got to get them."
So they created a mentality where you thought that the guests were your adversaries.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
And why would they be your adversaries? What would they do that was adversarial?
Well, cancel. That would be the worst thing. If they dropped out, that would be annoying.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Us against them.
Yeah, because we're trying to make this
Stop
show.
making good decisions, you cunt.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Or like they drop out or lie to you or say one thing and do another thing or whatever, or not turn up for the taxes and stuff.
That is a problem when you exclusively deal with drug addicts, the mentally ill.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, the mentally ill thing, so the way a checklist to stop people, as soon as you speak to someone, you speak to them, you say, have you ever had schizophrenia or bipolar or whatever? And they're like instant no's. And then there's depression was like a grey area. Like if they've been depressed for ages, it was all right. But if they were only just diagnosed as depressed, it was bad. So
what?
Because they're only
What the fuck kind of logic is that?
because if they've only been on medication for less than 6 weeks, then it might not have taken effect. But if they've been on it more than 6 weeks, you could say it's working and they're not depressed. That was like basically the thing behind it. Yeah.
I've been taking depression medication for years because of my depression.
Yeah.
Oh, are you not depressed?
Yeah, it's working then.
So then you go to like the aftercare team and you say, this is the thing, he's got depressed, but he's not on medication or whatever, and they go, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but
if they had suicide attempts, it was if they'd had suicide attempts in the last year, or I can't remember the exact times, but if they had reached in such a time, they go, no, you can't come on. But if it was like 10 years ago,
but very quickly, like objection handling though in a sales job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like these are things you're trying to get past.
Very quickly, have you ever done that thing where because I'm presuming you have to get the gas okayed by someone bigger than you?
Literally any human.
Honest, if the aftercare team, yes.
So have you ever sort of spoken to the aftercare team and gone, look, he had a suicide attempt 9 months ago, but it's 10 months ago next month, but he's not on any medication for his depression. Like to try and balance it.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It sounds exactly the same as
you massage it a little bit. People, people straight up lied on those checklists. I know people lied on those checklist forms.
And there'll be people who are ringing up and going, you don't have schizophrenia, do you? Leading them.
Also,
and stuff,
they would get wise to it. So it's
exactly.
So
they want to be on the show.
You can't come on because of this. They just ring someone else because there's so many people working on it. They speak to someone else. Go, oh no.
Yeah, exactly. And if you get rejected for it, you just call back.
There were some that were like definite no's, like. If it was a couple and there'd ever been any history of domestic violence, then that was no.
reported, Yeah.
Well, if they said, but then you would also have to speak to like members of their family to make it's called a source check. First, to make sure the story's real and make sure that there's none of that or there's anything that they're lying about. So it kind of was a safety net for it. But there were people definitely that got through those things.
The problem is, like, whilst you say there's a safety net, you're incentivized to get past the safety net.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like that means that you're looking to find the holes in it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it was so difficult to book guests because, like you say, it's something that people don't want to do.
Whereas if it was responsible, you'd have an entirely independent team that were incentivized on a different thing.
Well, the aftercare team kind of were that.
Nah, but like if one of the aftercare team is nixing too many people, someone's going to go have a word. Everyone's incentivized to make this show. You're all in the same problem. The fact that it's not an independent adjudicator is very much part of the problem.
With the aftercare team, there was definitely a case of, because there would be like 3 on a shift or whatever, and because they'd have to take it in turns, there was definitely a case of, I'm going to go with that one because I know that they have lax rules. So I'd wait until they're free, and if I had one that's like on the line, I'd take it.
Yeah, you don't want to speak to like Julie because
you don't want to speak to the one who just says no for everything because then I've got to start all this 10 hours of work again.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like that's where the incentives lead you into these things, and like that's the structure leading you into that shit.
I mean, we had a pretty good incentive to give Liquid Death a really good plug, and look what we did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Incentives work.
Yeah, can you imagine us on the show?
Come free.
Yeah. This contestant absolutely doesn't drink cum.
I found a guy suicidal, but not covered in cum. So
that's why he's suicidal, actually. Fuming about the situation, so he is.
Fuming, if you will.
So you worked there. What would you say in the time that you were on? What was the moment? Because I reckon from speaking to you, you were like, you knew you needed to get out. What was the moment that you were like, this is bad?
There was, I think it was a lie detector. When there was a guy who rang me every week for like 10 weeks saying, I want to come on. My missus wants to come. So first of all, him and his missus want to come on. I was like, Sam, we could do that. And then every week, his missus would drop out and she'd go, oh no, he obviously wanted to go on. That's enough for me. He would have proved it. And then the next week, it would start again. And he kept ringing and she kept dropping out. And in the end, I was like, hey, you can't keep wasting my time, keep doing it. And then he went away for a little bit. And then he rang someone else. He spoke to someone else. And he got on and he failed the lie detector. And I was like, I know there's no way that he was lying. He was so desperate.
I mean, that is quite funny, isn't it?
Yeah. But then he lost. He failed the lie detector. She split up with him straight away. And he was gutted. And I was like, this lie detector is clearly not right. So I'm like, right, I'm not doing this lie detector anymore. Just in my own head. I didn't tell anyone, but I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. And then because of that, I wasn't booking many parts. And then my confidence went. And then I was getting all this pressure. And I was like, hang on, a few months ago, I was like, you all love me, and now you all hate me, and I'm under all this pressure to do this thing, which I know is immoral now. So I was literally on my way to work, and I was like, I'd not slept for like 3 days, and I was on my way to work. And I'm like, if I walked into front of this traffic now, would I die, or how long would I get in hospital, and would they pay me if I was in hospital? And at that moment, I was like, I have to quit. And I went in that day, and I've got to leave. And then, to be fair, they put me on another show, like Judge Rinder is quite similar.
Like that situation you described with the lie detector, that is the exact scenario where that guy killed himself. It's the same thing. He was desperate to get on to prove himself as not a liar, went on, failed a lie detector test, his missus left him and he killed himself. It's the exact same scenario.
Now,
you were correct to have your spidey senses tingling.
I've got a theory, and you might be able to say whether or not it's true. I've got a theory that Jeremy Kyle always knew that someone was going to kill themselves and it was going to be linked back to the show, and that they had like a strategy plan in place for when it happened, because when that guy killed himself, within a day they'd taken all the episodes offline, and within 3 days they cancelled the show. They must have known.
If they did, it was very, very extremely high up at ITV if that was a thing.
I don't think it was the first suicide as well.
What?
I don't think it was the first suicide. It's the one.
No,
first
but
one that got directly linked to it like that. But like, there was been others.
Well, you said,
but there was a lot of people with like mental health problems that went on, or drug problems and stuff. So a lot of people went on and then killed themselves later. But like you say, it definitely doesn't mean it was to do with the show. People die, don't they?
Yeah, I would say.
You do a show for.
I would say if you've got mental health problems, going on that show is one of the worst things that could happen to you, though. It's adding loads more pressure to you. It's just, I think it would definitely been a straw on that camel's back.
I don't reckon there's many people that went on Jeremy Kyle with mental health issues and came out cured. Like, I don't think there's many people that were like, I was depressed, but having a chat with Jezza and passing that lie detector.
Honestly, you'd be surprised. There's obviously a lot of people he screamed at and had a go at and stuff, but for every person he screamed out and go out, there was always really a kind of a winner, and there was an attempt to resolve the situation. If someone's being a dickhead and not seeing the kid and like, I don't want to see the kid, whatever, he would have a go at them for that. But then he would also say, right, come on, you need to sort it out, and they would try and resolve it. Often they didn't, but they would try. And then some people, it did make their lives better. But a lot.
What do you reckon the percentage? If you had to put a percentage of made lives better to made lives worse, what are we talking? 80-20?
I don't know.
50-50?
I don't know. Probably about 50-50, to be honest.
I think that's wildly over optimistic.
I think the people whose lives are worse, there was a lot, but there was a lot who did improve. For example, if you found out that your other half was cheating and they were cheating, that makes their life better in the long run. Yeah,
but like all that's happened is you've gone somewhere and someone's guessed as to whether they're cheating or not, and then you live your life under that assumption.
Again, but
I don't think that's better.
Well, a lot of people who failed it would then admit it, or there was people that admitted it before they'd even done the lie detector.
Those people are fucking pussies.
In fact, there was one story. This was before I worked for him. So someone was doing a lie detector, and they admitted on stage, yeah, I was lying, before the results were read out. But the results, they'd passed.
Yeah.
So someone had to be in Jeremy's ear and like, don't open the envelope, don't open the envelope. So he was like, oh, well, I suppose we don't need to listen, don't need to open this, and just threw it away because he'd passed, but then admitted it on the show,
Like, there was a thing they always used to say on it, like, Jeremy always used to go, like, because they always trumpet that thing of, like, 94% accurate or whatever it was, and then he'd go, so you're one of the 6%, are you? And it always annoyed me, because even if it was that statistic, how many people have you had on there?
Yeah.
You know,
you're going
to get some in that 6%, even if it was that, but it's actually closer to 50%. So yeah, you probably are.
Do you know what is so they always used to do? Have you ever kissed the woman in question or whatever?
Yeah,
and then like, have you ever fingered her?
Sexual contact,
and then it was sexual contact, and then it was like sex, and then sometimes they'd pass the first two, and then the sex one they'd go, "You were lying," and it's like, how? Like who's just gone? Should we have sex and nothing else?
Yeah, I want you to.
No, we did. It was always.
I want you to pretend you're a hooker so we don't kiss.
Yeah.
No, it was always in the other, or it was a different order, so that couldn't happen.
Oh yeah, because sometimes you go, well, you passed the first two.
No, they'd always say sex first because you can't have sex without sexual contact and kissing, and then they go sexual contact and then kissing. There was always
and they go, oh, well, you weren't kicking off when you passed the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, because I haven't done it.
There was a guy.
That one was right.
There was a guy who failed the lie detector for cheating. And his excuse was, he said, well, maybe I cheated on you in a dream. That was his reason.
That's better reasoning than you had on the other side, to be fair.
Yeah.
Maybe I cheated on you in a dream.
That was his thought. That's why he must have
Well,
failed.
like, to be fair though, if you actually believe that the lie detector works and you know that you haven't cheated and it tells you that you have,
He did
must be
later.
like-
He did later admit that he cheated. Though.
yeah. I'm trying to
Honestly,
help about that.
most of them would admit it.
Yeah.
That's why you knew the ones who were telling the truth, who would absolutely deny it, and you
Yeah.
could just tell they're like, "There's no way they'd lie."
Yeah.
But there's a lot that did. So yeah. Anyway, back to your earlier point. So that's how you get them on the show.
Yeah.
People go, so, a lot of people say, "Did they get paid?" Nobody got paid to go on it. Like none of the guests. They would get a night in a hotel and free fags. That was like an incentive.
Well, I heard as well that you can tell me if this is right or wrong, that sometimes they take them on a night out beforehand.
No.
And get them coked up and shit.
No, certainly when I was there, I don't think beforehand either. So they would literally, wherever you lived in the country, that you would get picked up in a taxi. If you lived in Plymouth, you get picked up in a taxi and driven to Manchester, because
So they can't escape, you can't get off.
Well, you can't trust him to go on trains.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time they would cancel halfway
The
through.
level of people he's trying to get on this
Well,
show
I mean,
can't be trusted on public transport.
good
Well,
morning.
you can't.
Good Morning Britain have offered to give me a taxi before from. Do you remember when my
because you
tyre?
lied about your tyre breaking down.
They offered to get a taxi from my house straight down to Thingamajig.
It's
The
big money.
the money that TV companies have to just chuck at
Certainly,
shit.
then Jeremy
is
Kyle,
insane.
when I was on it, it made so much money on advertising. This is what I heard. It made so much money on advertising for that show alone. It paid for all the other daytime shows to be made.
Yeah, it was incredibly popular.
It was
like,
massively popular.
Wildly popular.
For that slot, it had like 5 million viewers a day.
Yeah,
that's
insane.
incredible.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you this, I was one of those 5 million.
Oh, I used to watch
on
it.
a religious basis.
I've never watched an episode.
Wow, I used to watch it when I was like a
worked at Big Year.
student briefly, and then I really quickly started to feel revolted with it.
Same,
you
and
know,
I watched it more. I doubled down.
Yeah, no, I think Jeremy Kyle. Look, we'll come to the man himself, I'm sure, later. Your opinions on him. My uninformed opinion through the TV is that he's one of the worst cunts on the planet. He revolts me as a person. But anyway, I'm sure you know better. But let's get into more of like the structure. I'm sure you've got more things you want to tell us.
So that's how you get people. So you'd speak to him, you'd convince him to come on, get as many people as you can, whatever. They come to the hotel. When they're in the hotel, this is why you do your really late night on a Thursday, that's when you got to get all the information. So you've got the story already. You've got everyone's opinion. But now I've got to write like a 3-page document on every person, right? I've got to speak to them. And you can only do it when they're in the hotel. If you do it when they're at home, they might cancel and it's a big waste of time.
Sure.
So you're doing this 10 o'clock at night, whatever. You probably finish at midnight and then you've got to type it all out. And then you've got to put it all on the cards for Jeremy. So you work until stupid o'clock in the morning, then back in. So
I think it says till like 3 a.m. then back in at 5 or some shit.
No, we worked till like 5 a.m. and then back in at 8.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Did you even go home?
Sometimes I would literally go home, have a shower, and then come back. If it was really late.
Yeah.
Did you just have a shower in one of the hotel rooms?
No, because we weren't where the hotel was.
Oh.
So he's just in the studio.
We're in the offices in ITV, and then we'd go over to the studio the next day.
Oh, killer.
So that morning, you've had no sleep. Plus, you get home and you're so wired, you can't sleep anyway. So you maybe had an hour's sleep. You come in and then you need energy. So you're like Red Bull, Pro Plus, blah, 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 because you've got to G these people up, right? So immediately, if there's always two sides to the story, right? They're coming from different entrances, don't they? And you have one side here and one side there. Yeah. Those sides, whether it's 2 people or 10 people, they get separated on different corridors. So even if it's a couple who are like, we want to do a lie detector, I think she's cheating, they get separated. Or if it's an actor story, they get separated. So that you can talk to this person and say, look, this is how you should do this. Like if they're going on first, you go, right, you're going to say your piece. If they're shouting in the back, don't worry about it. You say your piece. And when they come on, if they come out raving and shouting, don't worry, you come off stage and you talk to me. And really it's because the execs and the producers and stuff, they wanted movement. So on the other side, you'd say to them, listen, when they're talking first, they're talking a lot of bullshit. We all know that that's bullshit. You shout out and you say what's think, and it's just the same thing over and over again.
It's just encouraging the chaos.
I would tell everyone, listen, you've got to, I would say if you want to win this argument, stand up. It makes you have the power in the conversation. This is not a sit-down day for you. You stand up, and that'll intimidate them, and then you'll win.
Oh, he said
and
that.
literally say to everyone.
He said that so many times.
Yeah.
This
Hundreds-
is not a sit-down day
hundreds
for you.
times, hundreds
I felt
times.
that when it came out your mouth. Then it felt like a phrase that someone's
Yeah.
made.
That was
And
my
you hated it, didn't
phrase
you?
I invented.
This is not a sit-down.
I would say that
It's,
on a
it's
studio
over
day.
the walls of Jeremy Kyl's
I know.
studios now,
I'm
like La Masia.
Yeah, touching it on the way out.
Yeah.
On
If you
studio
said it
day,
to
I
Freddie,
would
though,
say,
I'd be like, every day's a sit-down day.
on studio day, I would say that 30 times. I would say that to every person at least 3 times.
That's his colourful comedy characters.
Honestly, most often it would be the last thing I'd say to someone.
Yeah.
Because
you like that's what so yeah they want movement because it looks good on TV, it makes drama.
you want them in the backstage thing.
If someone
running
walks
about,
off
But
in a
it's a
strop,
great-
that's a great thing.
It's
Follow
a great
them.
saying as well because
Yeah.
it's such a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Sticks in your mind.
And
a
if
bit.
you're repeating it as a mantra,
This is not a sit-down day for you.
Mm.
Like no one's ever referred to a day as a sit-down
Exactly,
day.
yeah.
So it just sticks a little bit.
you remember it, don't you?
Fuck, this is not a sit-down.
And it worked.
day
All
for you.
my parts.
Yeah, no
always
one
had
was-
loads of movement and stuff.
yeah,
Always had
no
loads
one
of-
was doubting the effectiveness of these techniques. You know,
Yeah, it's just like neuro-linguistic programming.
yeah,
But yeah, you'd say to
Fuck.
one person, you come off if you're worried, because there's always one that's worried.
yeah.
You come off, you're worried, and then you go, right, that one's worried and that one's confident.
This
So
is-
that's the one I'm going to get to chase, and that's the
This
one who's
is
gonna be chased.
honestly, this is like the dark side of the same science that teaches monkeys sign language.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like what happens when you abuse that
Yeah.
fucking that science. It's horrific.
So they'd also, I've just remembered the story. So they'd always have to bring ID when they came to
Yeah.
the studio, and the runners would get their ID and stuff. A lot of them didn't have ID because, like, you don't have a passport.
Drug addict.
Yeah, don't have a passport or I mean, a driving license because most of them,
Could you
pretty
not
much all of them
use-
don't work.
Could you not use the kids tattooed on their arms?
No. So, well,
It's like some sort of family tree reference.
so
What do you mean, well? How is this a story?
So I would say if they've not got any of them, I would say bring a letter with your name on. And this lad, he was only just turned 18, still lived at home. I'd never had a bill. You know what I mean? He's like,
Yeah.
I've not got any letters. No one. I've never had. Don't need him. I was like, just bring something with your name on. I'll take anything as long as it's got your name on. And he brought a birthday card.
Did you take it?
Yeah, I took it. Yeah, didn't tell the bosses, but I took it. And it was the worst thing was it was from his mum, and his mum was the person he was arguing with.
That's so funny.
I know it's exploitative and stuff, but some of them were fucking morons. And by some, I mean all.
That's why you shouldn't exploit them.
Yeah.
That's the problem, Tom.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
If they've never had a bill and all they have with their name on is a birthday card, maybe that person shouldn't be on.
Yeah. But yeah, I accepted that.
It's fucking mental.
There was a guy once who, so you can't wear any branding either when you go in the show.
Sure.
So there's a
Yeah,
guy.
it's like Nike aren't really keen on, that sort of association.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
more
yeah.
of an ITV thing that he just could do it. So, but people would come. with brand
Actually,
on.
I think if you were Nike, I think this is not a sit-down day for you is a great slogan.
Also, you couldn't wear trackies. They wanted to smarten them up, really. I know it doesn't seem like it, but wanted to make people look better than they were. This lad came on in trackies, and I was like, "You can't wear trackies, mate. We've got a load of jeans, so you can have one." He went, "I don't wear jeans. I don't find them comfortable." I was like, "Mate, you can't wear your trackies." He ended up as a compromise. He wore jeans over his trackies.
Oh my
I
God.
had to once.
Like, it's bad when you're that scruffy you won't wear jeans. It's like, come on, mate.
So there was a big thing about. Obviously, you can't have people with special needs on, obviously, but you also couldn't have people who look like they have special needs on, because
That's why Quinne's applications kept getting turned away.
Would you have let me on the show?
I'll let you on the show. But someone did get sent
No,
home
but-
because he was too ugly.
What?
Yeah, because he looked like he had special needs. You can't have him on. It looks like it's too exploitative. This.
Did you tell him? Sorry,
No.
mate, you're too fucking ugly.
I told him it was cancelled. Didn't tell him it was because he was too ugly. But then I'd say, "Oh, we'll try and get you on next week." And he just ring up every week.
Yeah.
Boy, he couldn't-
Apologies, my man. You're too ugly to be on the
The
show.
Jeremy
Jeremy Kyle show. too ugly for that show as well. I've seen some of the fucking swamp goblins you fucking had on it.
In the early days, it was really bad for it. So there was a conscious effort to try and, like, if someone had really bad teeth, we were told not to bring them on because they'd get so much shit online. From bad teeth.
Okay. So you're on like series 9 as well, because definitely like early on they'd have people on in the trackies, they'd have people looking like shit, and like these must have been rules that have come in over the years.
There was a woman once, this old woman who was on supporting someone or whatever. And the first thing my producer said to me was, we've got to shave that woman's beard off. Right? I mean, like, it was
Didn't know your mum was on telly.
It was a fucking beard. It wasn't like a whisper. It was a beard. It was bad, right? And I was like, how am I going to
Women can have beards now. They can have dicks.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the time, I was like, how am I going to approach this? I had no idea what to do. And I went to one of her family members and went, she's got quite a lot of facial hair, hasn't she? And she's like, oh, yeah. She'll never shave it off. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I told her that she'd won a makeover. And then I got the makeup woman. I said to the makeup woman, just get rid of that beard, but don't tell her. Just to get rid of this beard.
How do you stealth remove a beard?
Exactly.
I'm just going to rub some cream in.
But yeah, there was a lot of people we told they'd won makeover. There was someone that couldn't come on. So they were supposed to be.
So just to clarify, if anyone ever gets to go on television, if they tell you you've won a makeover, that's code.
That was just me who've said that a lot.
No, I really hope there's someone listening now who got a makeover on Jeremy Kyle who's like, you what? There's some bloke who's like, that's why it was cancelled.
There was one of my first shows. So people would come on and they'd have people with them who would support them, and then they would go on stage and stuff. But often you would see someone who's in the audience, and that if they were in the audience but part of the show, it was because they're a shit talker, but they wanted their friend to be with him, and they might go to him for a line or whatever.
Yeah.
There was someone who wasn't allowed in the studio because her knits were so bad. And so we couldn't put her in the audience because it was like, you just look at her for 2 seconds and go, wow, you've got a lot of knits. Like, it was ridiculous. There was a girl, oh my God, honestly, her leg, she had something wrong with her leg, right? And it smelled worse than anything I've ever smelled. Like, worse than that fish. Might
have been like necrosis then.
Yeah, it was horrendous, right?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that fish, actually, that does remind me. If anyone's watched the Stag Do special, we did say on it, there's a reason Tom deserves all this and more.
Here it is. Hello. So yeah, the leg was so bad that my mate was looking after her that day, and we got home. He threw all of his clothes in the bin and quit the next day because the smell was that bad. She also wasn't allowed in the studio. It was just horrendous. Yeah. Some of them really stank and like were horrible and stuff.
I mean, this is just like open mic, isn't it?
I've been at gigs like this.
Knits and smelly cunts.
Yeah.
So then you G them up. They go on stage and stuff. And you're with them right. There's a research you're with them right. You're with one person right until the last moment, and then even sometimes, like I say, when they come back, you're with them and say, "Let's go around here," or whatever. And then when they finish, you send them home. You've got you do a little questionnaire to like how it went and stuff. You send them home, and then the next day or the Monday, you would say, "Do you want these counselling? Do you want this? Do you want whatever?" Mm-hmm. And then that's when the aftercare will. Can I
ask you a question? So you said that you knew that it was wrong at the lie detector bit. Did you kind of know it was wrong on a base level from the day you started working there?
Yeah, when I went there, I didn't want to do the job because I was like, this is wrong. But honestly, you get so involved in it, you're blind to it.
I was just about to say, my next follow-up is, did you ever get a buzz from putting on a great show?
Yeah, massively, yeah. When we got, because the shows get graded, if we got an A-star show, like when I put those 3 shows in a row, I was like the king of ITV at the time. At that point, I was like, I got a raise, I got a bottle of champagne, I got like loads of vouchers and stuff. I was like, everyone wanted me on their team. I was the man.
Yeah, they do that.
It had never been done.
Yeah, no, it's the exact same thing. I've had jobs like that in call centres, but you also got to think like around the office, you're not sat around day to day going, "Oh, look at this awful evil thing we're doing." We're all going, "Hey, have you got one? You've got one. Well done, you." And it's just like the buzz in it.
Praise and praise.
It becomes normalised as well.
And honestly, some of the funniest nights I've had in my whole life were the night before the show when you're working stupid late, when you're writing the notes and you're literally just telling your mate what these people are saying and you're just pissing yourselves off. And it's the darkest fucking humour. Those people, and you have this, some of those people are some of my best friends. Like, even though I don't see them now, we've got this connection where we went through this awful thing together. Me and my mate say it's like being in Vietnam. It's like, you weren't there, you know, you don't understand, man. You weren't there, man, because it was fucking crazy. We've also said if I got offered now a year in prison or a year working on Jeremy Kyle, I'd choose prison every day, every single day.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Wouldn't even think about it. It was awful, but it was awful at the end. At the start, I liked it. At the end, it was horrendous. And also, because you're working so many hours, and you'd go out on a Friday with all the team and stuff, and get levered because you had no sleep, you're just all getting pissed. You don't really have time for other friends or family or anything. So they're your whole world is those.
I guess it makes it harder to leave then.
Yeah, people don't want to leave because
it's
all your best friends. It's like being in a cult.
Same techniques.
We've said it many times. It's like being in a cult. It's like being in a cult. Honestly, one of the reasons I wanted to do this now on the podcast is because of that documentary you saw. So there was.
I've seen it as well.
Yes. So there was. Four researchers spoke on it, but they were all hidden. And honestly, I got asked to do it, and I said no because I was like, I don't want people to think it was me.
Yeah.
I was like,
and you were still working in it at that point, innit?
No, I would still work
not Jeremy Kyle, but in
TV. Yeah. So when I watched that documentary, first I was on a massive hangover, and it was
bad time to watch that. You idiot.
I'd just been on a stag do, and then I watched a program where for an hour they called me a cunt.
Yeah.
and then
old Germans watching the History Channel.
Yeah.
Jaws popping on Shark Week for the hangover, like, oh, what have I done there? Bloody hell, I shouldn't have eaten that boat.
Yeah.
But then I was super anxious because those people were all anonymized and played by actors. I was like, everyone's going to think that was me. That's the type of thing I say. Yeah. And then when I finished watching it, I felt really guilty because I was like, I should have said it because I don't think they went deep enough that it actually was how bad it actually was. So, yeah, I felt guilty about it a little bit. But one thing I did feel guilty about on that show, that documentary, was, so this is so bad. And this is not my fault, but it's bad. So, you know the woman on whose husband died?
Yeah.
You know how she's got the tattoo of his signature?
Yeah, that was a really fucked up thing. So explain for people who didn't see the documentary, like the partner of the guy who killed himself that we talked about earlier, who had gone on for the lie detector and stuff, she is like still an insane fan of Jeremy Kyle. She was like a super fan.
Yeah,
like,
she's got his signature
tattooed on her arm. Well, it was so dark that, like.
Well, so Jeremy didn't like doing signatures.
Mm-hmm.
And very rarely did him. But everyone sent a signature in the post, right?
I know
but
exactly
people would mine for me
going.
For signatures. So one day, I stuck into a back room and signed, honestly, 1,000 signatures.
God.
Now, that woman was on it a long time after I left. So it's unlikely, but not impossible.
Did you recognise the handwriting when you've seen?
Well, I just copied his signature.
Right.
So it's unlikely, but not impossible, that she's got my signature. My Jeremy Kyle signature tattooed on her arm.
Fuck's sake. Has she not suffered enough? Jesus Christ. Oh, I don't know if that's better or worse.
I'm at a loss for words.
Fucking hell.
That's ridiculous, that isn't it?
It's mad.
Oh,
so again, I don't know if that's true.
Did anyone ever like blame you if something went wrong? Did anyone ever blame you?
Yeah, someone tried to punch me once.
Yeah,
one of the guests. So again, this wasn't my fault. So a guest went on, and everyone who came wanted to sign a release form before you could go on.
Well, you just signed them for him, did you?
No, he didn't.
Have you got a birthday card? We need to check your ID.
I love that if he works in a pub, someone comes in with a fucking pop-up card. Like, that'll do.
So he didn't want to go on, right? He just wanted to go and support his family or whatever. I think he was the producer or maybe one of the execs or whatever, got him to sign a form to say, just in case you want to come on, you change your mind later, we're going to need this form. And he's like, okay, but I'm definitely not coming on. And basically, during the show, they took him downstairs and they just brought the camera into him anyway. And so afterwards, he was blaming me because I'd been with him all day, even though I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And he was like,
you were still the representative.
Yeah. So he came over. There was him and all his family, and he came over, and I was like, he's gonna twat me in a minute. I had not worked there long, and my instinctive reaction was like, if he's gonna hit me, I'm gonna have to move. And I was getting ready to punch him because I was like, I'm gonna have to punch him back if he punches me. And just as I went like that, security tackled him and like stopped him from punching me. Well, I was very close to getting punched then.
Fuck.
To be honest with you, I don't blame the guy.
Oh, no, I don't blame him at all.
I would.
But again, that was not my
I think I would
fault.
do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we should punch Tom for him.
Well, I did get punched once by my producer.
What the fuck?
She.
She?
Yeah. It wasn't bad. She pushed me in the arm, but she wanted to bring this.
You didn't do a Roxanne palette, did you?
Basically, I accidentally booked someone that she knew to come on, and she thought I should know that I knew this person already, which there was no way of me knowing. And I was like, how would I ever know that? And then she punched me in the eye.
That's bad that, like, it's so fucked up that, like, someone would freak out that someone they knew was going to get put through the same shit.
It was kind of a weird one, that one. They were looking for... There was an episode that was about people fighting and then dying, after one punch killed. And there was a woman who campaigned against it, and I booked that woman.
Right.
And the producers said that I should have known that was her friend or whatever. Which so it wasn't like someone... Yeah. It's a long story, but anyway.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, it was a toxic environment.
It sounds it, mate. Yeah,
there was a lot of drugs being taken as well.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that.
I didn't see it specifically.
Yeah, because you weren't in the fucking bathroom stall.
Yeah.
If people are doing like 20-hour shifts, having 1 hour, then going back to work, people are doing a bit of beak. I imagine it was on both sides, because there's obviously, you've got a lot of people with drug problems coming on, and you've got a lot of people who are working insane hours in the media. Those are your two biggest users of drugs,
So how often during your job did you speak to Jeremy Kyle? Like how often?
Not often. I wasn't dealing with him that much because it's the producer would deal. I never got to produce. I was assistant producer by the time I left Kyle. So the producers would speak to him. I would speak to him now and again, but like not really very often. Like when I did those 3 shows while I was in studio, he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, congratulations, well done on that. I've heard you doing good things and stuff." Yeah. And I'd speak to him like at the parties because there's a party every few months and stuff, and he'd go to that. I'd speak to him a little bit, but I wasn't like close to him or mates with him or know him that well.
What was he like as a person?
As much of a knobhead as he seems?
Yeah, but in like a different way. So he wasn't like he is on telly.
Sure.
He was just like, I don't know, he's a celebrity, and he just always wanted to be the center of attention, in my opinion, whatever. Yeah, I didn't like not get on with him, but I wasn't like his mate.
Sure. There was a lot of people on the documentary who were like, he was really abusive. There was some like recordings of him just like screaming at runners and stuff and being really condescending.
What annoyed me was because, like I said, I spent all night making those cards and all the notes for him, and the notes had to be perfect. You couldn't have a spelling mistake, you couldn't have anything wrong with him. And you're doing that at 5 a.m, so often you do make mistakes. So apparently he would get angry at mistakes. So that was frustrating. And I also found that there was days where he'd have a bet with like the execs of how little he could look at those cards.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate.
Yeah.
I just worked till 5 a.m. making these, and you're trying to do the show without looking at him.
Like, regardless of anything else, how he acted on the set as well, he is a former gambling addict who didn't see his own daughter for about 15 years, so we can wind it fucking judging. It really pissed me off. He's like a piece of shit. Yeah. Like, I don't know him personally. I think he's a cunt. I think he's one of the worst cunts going.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with Jeremy Kyle is that I find it impossible. He seems like the ringmaster of the circus.
Yeah.
So
but at the same time, like you'd think that he's in control. I know obviously he's a powerful figure. He's called the Jeremy Kyle Show, but he's not like making the decisions day to day.
There's a machine behind it.
No, but he is also. He's like. I mean, I read somewhere. I think you can double check if I'm wrong. But I read somewhere that he's like privately educated from a very good background. He's not stupid. He knows what he's doing.
He's on a technical level, I'd say he's one of the best presenters I've ever worked with. He I know I said it was annoying me that he wouldn't look at the cards, but he would remember everything. You only had to tell him something once and he would remember it. And like presenting a show and getting the feedback in your ear as you talk to someone is a really difficult thing to do. And he was amazing at that. As much as he was a cunt, he was a very, very good presenter.
Well, I think it's more like for the analogy, I see him as like the manager of a football club. He sets the tone. Like he might not be the owner. He's not the one who's making the decisions right up there. But like Trisha had a different tone. It was the same sort of shit. It was still exploitative, horrible stuff, but there was a different tone to it than what Jeremy Kyle brought. Yeah. Jeremy Kyle brought aggression and condescension and sneering, and he would try and break people down.
Trisha was a lot worse in a lot of ways. Trisha would bring like kids on and stuff.
I was using it as a rough example.
Would you not also say though as well that?
But there was at least a pretense at kindness on Trisha, whereas with Jeremy Kyle, he would like the blockbuster bits are him trying to like just rip someone apart. You're a piece. He wouldn't call him a piece of shit, but that was basically what he did.
Is it not the case that also Trisha, being a black woman, might not have been able to get away with that personality in the same way? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because there's something about being like a white middle-class man that you can be sneery and look down on people. Whereas, do you know what I mean? If Trisha did that shit, people would be like, who
honestly,
the fuck does she think she is?
Trisha was a very, very, very similar show.
Yeah.
In fact, when Trisha got cancelled, it was the exact same people who made Trisha.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there was so many people who worked on Kyle that had worked on Trisha and moved from Norwich to Manchester.
Yeah.
It was the same show, and if anything, there was a lot more safeguarding on Kyle. There was a lot more paperwork and checks and
So
stuff.
maybe by the time you were on, you know.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I also think it was just harsher in tone, Kyle.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It turned out the reputation, and like you say, there's those clippable bits.
Yeah.
But like I said, there was always an attempt to get resolution at the end. It didn't always happen.
But
is
it's one of those
not-
things of like
is that
tying it
not
up
the
after,
minimum that you can do, though?
Yeah.
If you drag
try
these
and resolve
people
the
up-
problem.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I thought, well, thank you for trying to fix it in the last 30 seconds after you've called me a cunt for half an hour. Thank you, Jeremy. What a wonderful thing you've done.
can't really put that in their corner
Yeah.
as being like, well, they did try at resolving things.
Yeah.
The show wasn't about resolutions.
It was about
it?
conflict and resolution.
No,
It was
no.
about conflict.
Yeah,
if
that
the
was- that was
resolution, if you
That's why
had-
it got ratings.
It-
But
no.
the reason Jeremy was popular with a certain amount of people was because of the resolution.
I
That's why people
don't
would go.
think
That's
so.
why people
I
would go on it
think-
because they'd seen other people's
That's why people
problems
would go
get
on
resolved.
it, because you sort of tricked them into thinking that it had been resolved, and they hadn't been resolved anyway. But also, like, if you had a show that had resolution but no conflict, you have no show.
Oh, yeah.
If you have conflict with no resolution, you've got the same show.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
the conflict is the point.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they never had a show that was just resolutions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, no, every like, once every 6 months they'll get one where they reunite people and it's
Oh, it was
heartwarming.
awful.
Those were boring.
Or they were
Yeah.
like trapped in a house fire and my life changed.
Yeah.
And then this absolute
Yeah.
fucking person would come out and you'd be like, ugh. And then Jeremy would be like, I think you're brave and stunning.
Yeah.
And everyone, and they play the nice Jeremy Kyle music, like, do, like, and just make it all.
I did. It was really hard to get the reunited ones. It was really hard to do. But
Can you find me dad?
I got one in a year. I would always try. We had this.
Yeah.
We had this software that could find. It's fucking scary at the time. It was like you could find someone's phone number and address just like on a tiny little bit of information and stuff.
Do you ever abuse that?
No.
I think the fact that the UK doesn't have a statute of limitations on this means that we're probably not going to get any more information about that. But
No, I didn't.
Wow.
he's just there at that computer typing in big tits. They're just ringing every phone number.
Hello, missus. Have you got big tits? No, well, I did find one. I reunited this woman with her brother who'd like not seen each other for like 50 years,
Yeah.
and that was like genuinely like moving
Yeah.
for me. I was like really proud of myself that day. It was like I'd
Yeah.
actually done some good.
Yeah, Jimmy Savile did a lot for charity.
There was a lot of smackheads or drug addicts and stuff that helped.
Yeah.
That was like really proud. And like one of them, I was like, he could have been my mate. Like his life was a lot like me and my mates, but he just had this ridiculous coke problem. And we sorted his life out and stuff, and I felt really good about that. But yeah, mostly it was being horrible, being a cunt.
Yeah, but those little like shafts of light are what keep you going, innit? Like
Yeah.
you get those and you're like, right, cool, I'm doing something that helps, even though you're
weirdly-
really not.
weirdly, that
really,
one-
really not.
Weirdly, that one, when I was like, oh, I've done some good, was kind of around the time that I realised that it was horrible what I was doing. And I think
Yeah.
it was because I'd done this good thing. I was like, oh,
You felt
all
how
the-
different it
All
was.
the horrible things were really bad. I like,
Yeah,
because I was like, I wish I could just do that, but it's impossible.
yeah.
We had some two lads come on once who were shagging each other.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were just this disgusting.
Well, wait till you hear the end of this story.
Okay.
So they came on because there was rumours that they were brothers, and like, we're obviously not brothers. That's mental. Anyway, they were brothers.
No, but like I've said that.
One of them wanted to keep doing it as well. The other one was like, "No, that's
Well,
weird."
I think I've talked about this on this podcast before, weirdly. I think gay incest is much more morally defensible than heterosexual incest, because the main, like, when you really analyse why incest is disgusting, is because it gets down to a biological level that you're going to create mutant babies. You're going to fuck up a baby. But if you're two lads, that's not a problem, innit? So, who are you really hurting? Well,
mum?
maybe each other if you're into it.
The mum was
Yeah,
probably
the
a bit
mum
hurt.
probably hurt. Probably don't fuck your brother, though, I'd say.
Yeah, that's how Kyle ended.
That's ideal.
So yeah.
There's his
Jesus.
resolution.
There is also a woman who came and she was.
But wait, could you not have used that special software to instantly find out whether or not they were brothers?
No, because one of them didn't know who his dad was, and one of them knew who his dad was, but his dad was dead or missing or whatever.
Ah, right.
And there was the mum said, "Fucking hell, you look like his dad." And then this rumor started, and then they were like, "Well, we need to prove that it's not true." And then it was.
You'd have to move towns after that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. If you were accused of bumming your own brother,
Yeah, the brother fucker
on TV,
that'd be fucking unreal. Even if you're accused, that's sticking.
Oh yeah, I think you're not only moving towns. I think you're moving
Countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably go straight. I'd be like, I can't risk that again.
Yeah, where did Dad never go?
Yeah, fingers crossed I've not got a sister. Right.
There's some fucking mental stories. There was a woman who came on because she thought that her son had been breaking all her stuff, and one of the things she thought he'd been cutting up her dildos, and she wanted him to do a lie detector.
How?
I don't fucking know.
How do you cut a dildo?
I don't know, but like this
What
woman,
would you use? Like a hacksaw? Because you can't do it with fucking scissors, can
no,
you?
you can't unless she has
Any-
really thin dildos.
Any slightly well-made dildo you couldn't hack with a knife.
I don't know.
It's
but
going to have to be a saw.
No, I don't know how sharp the knife is.
Depends how sharp the knife is and how soft the dildo is. But if it's made of a solid rubber, that's quite tough. You
Yeah,
know,
no.
they're solid
well,
things.
someone had cut up these dildos anyway.
Yeah.
But this woman was.
You'd have to do it
fucking-
on a bandsaw.
This woman was nuts, like proper nuts. She was this African woman, she's a nurse, and her son was such a nice lad. He was like a student, and he clearly just didn't want to be there, but his mum was making him. And he did this lie detector, and they were like, "What is your defense?" He said, "Well, I've just clearly not done it. It's just not true."
Yeah.
And luckily, he passed the lie detector, but fucking hell, he was.
So it's an African woman, and the tagline was, "Who's been cutting up my dildos?"
That was pretty much the exact one. But she was a nurse, and it was one of the very rare occasions where. So the only way your show would get taken off air was if you had a court case coming up, or if you had recently died, or I don't know, I can't remember, maybe one other. But that one got taken down because she was a nurse and she went so mental. All the bosses saying like, "I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to go to the papers. I'm going to go to the papers." And normally you go, they're not going to go to the papers. But she was so batshit. You're like, she definitely will. They took that episode down. So it was only on. Sorry, that was only on once. That was only once.
Wow, and you thought Lucy Letby was the tip of the iceberg, eh?
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man!
There was some crazy people that rang up that were just crazy. The ding on the show. So there's a woman that I think this was my first day. This woman rang up and she was like, "I want to come on because my husband is stuck in Africa and I need to get him home." And I was like, "Oh, right. How long's he been stuck there?" "Oh, years. I can't get him home."
My husband, Mr. Quinn, doesn't fit on the plane.
Yeah. He said that he got
he's been held captive in an elephant reserve.
She said he got malaria, so he couldn't come. Yeah. And then he was in the army and he got shot, so he couldn't come. And I was like, these stories are getting more mental. And I was like, where did you meet? And she was like, "Oh, we've never met. We got married online." And she's clearly been duped.
Scammed,
She's an insane person. One of the stories he told that she couldn't come back was because he got bit by a lion.
Fuck's sake.
Now, this was one of my first calls. So I said to like my boss, like, I mean, obviously we can't do. Should we ring the police about this? And I was just like, nah, it's just nothing to do with us. So we just.
Yeah.
Classic
no
ITV.
responsibility for that. Wash your hands. Off you go. Yeah.
Well, do you help that person? Because I said to her, like, I think this might be a scam. And she was like, "Oh, my friends say that, but it's true. He's real." And I was like, "He's not."
He's just the unluckiest man alive.
Yeah. Needs to stay out of that fucking safari park, I'll tell you that.
Did you find, in your opinion, because obviously there's a lot of things with ITV, the reality shows have a reputation for leaving behind a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah. They're essentially, ITV just keep producing their own little versions of Squid Game.
Did you find that the Aftercare was genuine?
Yeah, I think.
Can you hand on heart go, ITV did all they could for these vulnerable people?
Honestly, I really tried. If someone wanted counselling, I would arrange, whether that was drug counselling or anger management or whatever. I would always offer it and I would always arrange it. And honestly, hardly anyone would go.
Was it offered after the show had been on?
No, it was offered the day after they'd been in the
So
studio.
they haven't seen what's gone out. They haven't had the effect of it. Was it offered more than once?
Yeah. Well, what would happen is you would arrange 6 sessions, but you'd only pay for one because obviously you're going to pay for all of them, but you'd only pay up front for one. You'd say to this counsellor, "Listen, we're going to pay for 6, but we'll just pay for one. If they don't turn up, let us know and we'll cancel it." Whatever.
Also, I would say for any sort of issue that is serious enough to warrant counselling, 6 ain't going to do it.
Oh yeah, that'd just be the start. That'd just be the start.
Yeah.
Whatever. They'd get more if they wanted to. Whatever. But honestly,
I think it's
they
probably
very
one of those
rarely
where
took it.
I'm sure it was a real offer, but I'm sure it wasn't pushed as hard as it was to get them on the show. I don't think you were pushing in the same way.
I pushed it.
You didn't
a
have
lot.
the same. I'm sure maybe you did.
Every person.
but
That was one of the big selling points to get on the show.
Sure. But at a systemic level, you're incentivized to get people on the show and say fucking whatever. You're not in any way rewarded for getting people into care, are you?
No.
Yeah. At no point, because you got
There's no
3 people
leaderboard.
into care
There's no
every day.
leaderboard of how many smackheads you've cured. There's no
Yeah.
fucking vouchers for getting someone to go to counselling.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
So, like, whilst you, like, look, I know you as a guy and I believe you and I'm sure you did try, but I don't think every colleague you had did.
Yeah, probably.
You know, and like on a systemic level, you've got that problem if you
But
don't have the same incentives.
When you're being
you know?
incentivized so much to do one thing,
Exactly.
it's not possible to be as motivated.
You've got to do
Oh, yeah,
all
no,
the. You've got my aftercare bit was, like I said, our show's on Friday, so I would do it on Monday. It'd be Monday morning. I would ring all the people, offer them whatever I could offer them, and then Monday lunchtime, then I'm back on the phones for the show on Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very small part of your
And
week.
there's only so much you can do if you're under that sort of pressure. I don't think it comes, you know, like I'm not blowing on an individual level here. I think it goes much bigger than that. You know, like there's no way you possibly can have the same level of care for it, which is why it needs to be an independent thing if you're going to do something. Well, you just shouldn't do something like this in the first place. But, you know, if you're gonna, there needs to be a lot more independent shit.
As much as it was horrible and it was shit, I don't regret working on it because honestly, because of working on that, and I worked so hard on it, I did get respect off other people, and it led to other jobs. So career-wise, it was a good thing to do because it taught me. I knew that if I could do that, I could do anything.
Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches or corn, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your crazy neighbour or having to check yourself into a bubble to stop yourself eating. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong, so instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that just does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavoured air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavours. You get it? Instead of bad, Fume is good. And it's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety whilst breaking your habit. I wasn't sure what to expect with Fume, but the taste was delicious. It felt lovely. I love fidgeting. And the look, my word, it was gorgeous. So stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use code DMT to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use the code DMT to save an additional 10% off your order today.
If you're enjoying Dead Men Talking, why not sign up to Patreon? It's patreon.com/Dead Men Talk Pod, and for that, you get an extra episode every single week.
But Freddie, I can't afford £3 because I'm an eternally impoverished little spastic.
Well, there's a free trial for internally impoverished little spastics.
That's good.
So for 7 days, you don't get to pay anything. You can just come in, have a look round, see if it's for you, and then fuck off.
What happens after that 7 days? Do I definitely remember to unsubscribe and not pay any money? Okay, cool.
Patreon.com/Dead Men Talk Pod. You'll remember. We hope you're enjoying this week's episode of Dead Men Talking, and
I don't care if you are.
here is a little sneak peek of some content from a previous Patreon-only episode. If you enjoy it, sign up at patreon.com/Dead Men Talk Pod.
Your best friend has been caught with a boot full of dog heads. He's blaming you. What do you do?
He's a
I think we need to
policeman.
adjust this. Someone has put a boot full of dog heads in your boot.
Right.
what you do.
Could be
How
quite
do you
annoyed. I've just got a
explain
new
it?
car.
I've got this down. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Right, so pull me over.
Woo! How much of this charade do I have to do?
Okay.
Wind down the window.
You're
Excuse
right.
me, sir. Are you all right?
I'm fine.
It's just you look very fat.
Been eating today, sir?
Can you blow into this, please? I'm showing a dangerously high level of hash brown.
What's your badge number? I'm going to report this. What's your badge
It's
number?
a good technique. Turn it around on him straight away.
What's your badge number? I'm going to report this. I think that's very unprofessional.
Yeah.
Now, what's your reason for pulling me over?
Well, I'm from the fat police. I noticed your suspension dragging. Do you have a license for those tits?
Is this because you're so heavy or there's something in your boot?
Well, you can check my boot if you want.
Okay, I go. It's my boot opening
Okay.
noise.
I thought it was Freddy trying to breathe.
It's him just double dropping chicken nuggets in
Hurry
the front
up.
seat.
Hurry up, officer. I'm late for the art exhibit
Okay, why have you got a burger there? Why have you got a burger in your hand?
because I'm hungry.
Uh-huh.
I'm on my way to the art exhibit.
What art?
Conceptual art
Uh-huh.
at the Manchester MoMA.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I have to drive this exhibit of realistic but fake looking dog heads to there.
What's
because,
the name of the artist so I can just pop them into Google?
It's me. I'm the artist.
You're the artist.
Yeah,
You've got an exhibition at the Museum of Modern Art.
Yes.
What's the exhibition called?
The exhibition is called a fascinating insight into.
Is this curated by Lemony Snicket?
It's called
A fascinating insight into what?
Dogs.
Into dogs. It's a fascinating. What? So that's the name of the exhibition. So there's Insight to Dogs. And what's the name of the specific piece within the exhibition? A fascinating insight to dogs. What do you call this sculpture?
This sculpture is called Unleashed.
Unleashed. Okay. Like your comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Fascinating
what does-
insight into
what-
dogs. And then there's just 40 dog heads. Straight after that, I did Judge Rinder.
Yeah, so you had your breakdown.
I had a breakdown.
Wanted to throw
Literally,
yourself-
literally, I had a breakdown. Told them I was quitting, and they said the Judge Rinder, the second series had just started. Like I think maybe that day they'd started working on it, and I was in the casting team, and they were like, "We'll put you on that. It'll be a lot easier, not as hard."
How would you like to exploit people in a courtroom?
Yeah, it pretty much was that. It was just Jeremy Kyle in court at the
Yeah.
start. It changed a little bit, but
What's Rinder like as a person?
Rinder, I really like Rinder. His sound. Oh, yeah. I really got on with him. He's dead nice, dead chatty, dead like insanely clever. Knew things.
But again,
he like doesn't like football, doesn't care about football, but knew loads about football.
but
Like,
again, like if he's so smart and so clever, he can't be nice because he knows what he's doing. He
Yeah,
know
maybe.
he knows
By default,
what it's
yeah.
a part of. He knows what this is a part of.
Rinder wasn't as a show. It wasn't as explosive as Kyle because,
What a bar to hurdle.
well, it was a very different show.
You are real. It's not quite as bad as AIDS.
To be fair on Rinder, although the show it started being because it was the Kyle team who made it. We were just ringing up Kyle guests because no one knew about the show, so no one was applying. But then as it went on, it became its own thing, and really, I'd say 70 or 80% of the cases on Rinder were just fake.
Well, this is it. I actually, I don't know if I've told you this before. One of my mates got approached to be on Judge Rinder, a comedian mate of mine, Monty.
Oh right, yeah.
So my mate Monty Bairds,
I know him.
Yeah, great lad.
I think it was me.
Yeah, it might
I
well
think
have
it might have
been.
been. I think I might
So,
have been.
like, yeah, because, well, he told me he'd met someone at a gig who'd seen him or something, and it was like, do you want to be on Judge Rinder? And this could easily be
Oh,
you.
no, that wasn't me, no.
But, like,
oh, no, I met him after I worked on
yeah.
Sorry.
But he was like, someone from Judge Rinder, he came to me, we were dead good mates, we did loads of stuff together at the time, we were doing loads of shows together at the time and stuff. So he rang me, and he was like, right, got a pitch for you. Someone from a producer from Judge Rinders asked me to go on and just find a mate, and like there was some bullshit story about owing, one of us owing the other one money for something or whatever. And he's like, "Do you want to go do it? Could be good for our careers." And I was like, "Well, it's not, is it? It might be good for us making 200 quid." But like no one who's watching Judge Rinder has been like, those guys are funny. Where's their tour dates? Wonder if that guy on the right's got a podcast. So
the way it works, Rinder, is say if you two went on and Rob owed Freddy $5,000, and then you win and you prove that he owes you $5,000.
Yeah.
Rob doesn't pay you $5,000 because it's not real court. ITV will pay you $5,000.
Yeah.
So it was rife for people. It was if as long as people knew those rules, they could work out that they could just fake something, right?
Yeah, and that was literally the pitch that I got.
Yeah,
it was like, we just make up an amount of money and we'll get that amount of money. And like, I just couldn't be asked.
So my job again is to get people on the show. So I can't say, listen, make up a story, but I can heavily hint, this is how the show works.
Yeah,
and some people would go, oh no, there's no one owes me money. Or some people would go, oh right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And one guy, this is so fucking funny, this story. So I told him it was
Before
a YouTuber.
you tell this story, I'm going to have a quick drink of this because I think if it's so funny, I might spit the water out. And you cannot waste liquid death. It's
I just want to make sure my mouth is clean of the taste of cum.
by adding the least cummy drink possible.
Liquid death.
Delicious. Can't taste any.
No cum at all?
And I sucked off so many guys last night.
I'd never lose the taste of cum.
You know what it's like when it gets stuck in the back of your throat? It's like with you all day.
No, it's like, when food gets stuck in your teeth.
Oh, I've been picking bits of cum out of that all day.
Yeah, because I've got a missing tooth. Sometimes I know I'm in trouble if it looks like I've got a full set.
Freddie, have you been to Turkey?
No, I've just been to Canal Street.
Delicious.
Come free. Right. So, Judge Rinder.
So, Judge Rinder, so that's the way it works. It's a little scam, whatever. And I spoke to this YouTuber who's like a prankster guy. And I was like, oh.
Some of the best people on earth, YouTube pranksters.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, as well, is YouTube pranking went through a massive boom.
Yeah.
And once it became really popular, everyone started faking.
Yeah.
Everything.
Collapsed,
Well, this guy wasn't. He was pranking his government, but like they were real pranks, so you could tell they were.
Yeah.
Real. Anyway, so I'm ringing up telling him this is how it works. So if you've got any pranks that have gone wrong or whatever, and he's like, oh, that's interesting, whatever. So he rings me up like 10 minutes later, and he goes, right. So me and my mate had this tattoo gun, right? And we both said we'll draw big dicks on our leg, right? All the way to the knee. And I did it, but he didn't. So I think he should pay to have my tattoo removed. I was like, that is brilliant. Have you got his number? I'll see if he's keen. And he went, I've already spoke to him. He's in. I was like, perfect. For me,
yeah,
perfect.
Jackpot.
Yeah, jackpot, right? So I say to the bosses and stuff like, listen, I've got this story. It's amazing, whatever. And they're like, well, obviously we can't show the tattoo, but we need to know it's a real tattoo. Because at this point, they're really worried about fake cases and stuff. I was like, all right, so we'll get a tattoo expert in to check it, whatever. So I ring him up and say,
tattoo expert.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Like,
Yeah, that's real. But also, you can, if you want to get ahead with this story, you sort of know where it's going, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, so I ring him up and say, listen, we've got this. We've got to do the tattoo expert. He said, sound. So he turns up at the studio. I say, right, mate, kecks down. I need to see this tattoo. And he pulls his pants down. And he's got a big fucking dick on his leg, right? And I'm like, well, that's a real tattoo. I'm convinced.
what style of tattooing are we talking? Is it photorealistic?
No, it was like
Tribal.
It was like you'd done it in a sharp. It was like just a black outline.
Right.
But if you look really close, it was barbed wire.
Yeah.
But it was big and it was clearly a dick. And it was like, it went from the top of his thigh right to his knee, right? The tattoo expert comes out and I was like, yeah, can you just sign this picture? And he said, yeah, it is real, but just so you know, he's had that done in the last 48 hours. So I've been speaking to this guy for like 2 weeks, right?
Get it done straight away. It heals in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So clearly,
And 48, you know this, Freddie, 48 hours after a tattoo, it's like shiny and gross and plasma-y.
yeah, that's why she knew. That's why she knew.
He's still rubbing the panthen on it.
Oh, 100%. He'll have the cocoa butter
Yeah,
out
yeah.
while you're fucking talking.
So immediately I go in and I'm like, fuck, this could like blow up in my face now. Like, my bosses could be annoyed.
It's
by
the last thing you want with that big dick.
Yeah. So I say
Have
to
to have some liquid death to wash it out.
So I said to him, just spoke to her and she said that you've only had it done in like recently. And he's like, oh yeah. Because it was coming on telly, I wanted to get it redone so it looked better. And I was like, okay, I'll buy that, whatever.
Good enough for me.
So, but then I'm like, I'm assistant producer at this
I
time.
don't want to go on TV with a bad-looking dick tattoo. That'd be ridiculous.
You don't understand. Some of the line work wasn't very good.
They'd make fun of me.
I wanted to make sure it was as crisp as possible.
So then I go to my producer, and at the time, our team was struggling. And he was a good guy, the producer, but we were struggling a bit. So we needed these story or cases, we call them. So we needed this case. And I was like, yeah, I told him about the 48-hour thing. He went, right, let's not tell anyone else about that. So we didn't tell the bosses. I mean, I have just said it on a podcast.
But they are finding out now.
Yeah, sorry. But so he went on the show and obviously didn't win because it's a fucking stupid story.
Yeah.
And he didn't owe him any money at all. So he didn't win. Anyway.
So they just not get paid anything then?
No.
The production doesn't pay you anything. You've got to win your case.
You got to win, yeah?
So you got a
Fucking
massive
wild.
dick tattoo for 200 quid.
Well, he got it
Don't
for
even get
nothing.
anything.
He paid for a dick tattoo and then didn't make
But
any
did you not
money.
get 200 quid appearance fee?
No one gets an appearance fee for going to Rinder or Kyle.
Oh,
So then, this is like a couple of years, maybe longer than that. A few years later, I've told that story a lot of times. It's a good story. I was telling someone that story, and I thought, I wonder if I can find him because he was a YouTuber. He must have done a video about that story.
If you see any pictures of him wearing shorts,
Yeah, well, but one of the things that was, he said, well, it was obviously a lie, but he said, I can't take my daughter swimming because it's poking out my shorts and stuff. Whatever. Anyway, I Googled this, like, Judge Rinder penis tattoo, whatever. He'd sold his story to the paper like a year or two after, whatever. And because of that tattoo, his wife left him.
oh my God.
Yeah.
And
he still, well, when that story's out, he still had that tattoo.
why wouldn't you get a cover-up done?
Just
I'd
to
be like,
throw
oh,
it
I've
out
got a
there,
nice snake tattoo.
Yeah.
Just to throw it out there, I think his wife was looking for an excuse.
Yeah, if you,
I don't think that was a perfect marriage that one day hit the rocks.
although to be honest, if I came home with half like my leg covered in a dick tattoo, you're rolling the dice on your missus staying.
Better than most tattoos.
But like the problem,
Yeah. Oh, you go.
oh, that one's nice. I like that one. Yeah.
It's better than your dick as well.
But like, also,
She not got like a sad aardvark eating a fucking plum or something like that. That's usually your style of fucking
Yeah.
tattoos.
but like, it's also they're in a YouTube prankster relationship. They were by their very nature incredibly toxic.
Yeah, some of the pranks that he was doing here were like
They were bad.
a bit
that
bad,
shit.
a bit like, oh, that's a bit dodgy.
Like what?
I'm sure there was one where she was asleep, and I don't know if she was in on this, but if she wasn't, then it was really bad.
Just fucks her.
No, well, kind of. Worse.
Oh.
He painted her ass to look like a monkey, and then fed a banana up her ass, so it looked like the monkey was eating the banana.
I mean, it's a creative sexual assault. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
It is funny though, isn't it?
it is funny.
You definitely shouldn't film that and put it on the internet, though.
What an advert for Yorkshire Wildlife Park. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was just a mad.
Worst thing was his missus was Nigerian and no one believed it.
But yeah, there was loads of fake cases on that though. There was I went around Blackpool doing some street casting, just looking for people on the street to tell them about the show. I spoke to this guy. He owned a car company called Neil's Deals or Neil's Wheels.
Neil's Wheels
Maybe
would
it's
probably
Neil's
be it.
It
Yeah.
might, no, I think it might have been Neil's Deals. Anyway, he was this Cockney guy who lived in Blackpool, and I was telling him about the thing, and he was one of them. I could see his thing ticking.
Did he go, oh, this appeals?
Yeah.
I'll see how it feels.
And if I win, well, it'll be a steal.
Just checking this offer is real.
I need to pay for my meal.
Let's not do this all day.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
We've all run out. That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I ring him up the next day, and I was like, "So have you thought about it?" It's like, "Yeah, I know this story." And he had this story. I think it was about a bike or something. Someone had nicked his bike or
You mean
what?
steal?
Yeah, something like that. Someone had wrecked his bike, and he wanted to get him to pay for it. And I was like, "This doesn't." There was a few things that I was like, "This doesn't seem real," but I was like, I'll just go with it, whatever. It seems real enough for telly, but it's probably not. And then the next week he was like, "Oh, really good." He got like $2,000. He's like, "I've actually got someone else who owes me money as well." So I was like, "All right, sound." He brought another one on. I was like, great. And then the next week he rang me again. He was like, "I've got another one." But then the boss was like, "No, he can't come on 3 times. This is just stupid. He can't just keep coming on."
That's unreal.
Yeah. So what he did was he just told me about other people he knew who had. So this guy was just bringing me
Fucking
case. So I didn't
class.
have to do the work. So I was like,
Yeah.
I was
You just
buzzing.
subcontracted to Neil.
Yeah, I was
This is
buzzing.
like cash for crash, isn't it?
Yeah. So eventually, after he brought me 8 cases, someone looked into whether these cases were real, and it came down like a pack of cards, baby.
I fucking bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I nearly got sacked for that. It was
Yeah.
fun.
But again, it's
They only
incentives-
proved that one was fake,
Yeah,
and it was
that's
to do with.
enough.
Do you remember Alex Reed? Who went out
Yeah, the cage fighter.
It was to do with he wanted to come on, but not him. He knew Neil somehow, and he convinced his wife to come on about some broken tiles or something, and that's the one where someone looked into it and proved that was fake, and then they all went, right, but we'll just assume all the others are real because we need to put them on telly.
Yeah.
So-
But again, that's the incentives being in the wrong place. You're only incentivized to get cases.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and like for you, it's good. Give a fuck if it's real or not.
Yeah, I give a
really,
shit,
as long as
yeah.
you can get away with it.
And all
fine.
the best ones were a
fake,
bit
yeah.
mad, yeah,
Obviously,
or stupid.
yeah.
And
Because like normal ones are just like, oh, I lent him 200 quid and he's not paid it back.
well, some of them, like the people would come in the same taxi and stuff. So there's obviously no
Yeah.
conflict there. People would like, and all you needed one bit of evidence. That was the only thing that you needed, right? And so people like say, "Have you written?"
Have you got any birthday cards?
Well, there was one.
Have you had any big events recently?
Honestly, it was even more stupid than that. There was 2 girls who came on who they wanted. One of them owed the other one money for a night out they didn't pay for. And they just, I've got no evidence. And they said, "Oh, I sent her a text saying that I would pay her back." I went, "All right, can we have a screenshot of the text?" And they sent a screenshot, and it was from that day. And we still took it. There was
How
always
much was the night out? $5,000 again, was it?
the policy was always like, bring them real. They got to be real. They got to be real. But everyone knew that they were fake. If you
Yeah.
found evidence that it was fake, you just go, I'll just keep that to myself.
But the
Yeah.
thing is it must have been hard getting guests to go on Kyle, right?
Yeah, it's a lot harder than that.
And with but even with
Rinder was
Rinder-
hard. It was hard.
But even with Rinder, you're shooting from such a small pool of people that have like things that could be court cases
Yeah.
that could also they'd be happy to go on TV. It just seems like such a small.
Rinder was a lot harder because it was, especially at the start, because it's such a low profile show.
Yeah.
You'd think that Kyle would be harder because it's so high profile, but because so many people watched it, a lot of people wanted to go on it.
It's a bigger pool.
Whereas Rinder, the first series, you're telling people to go on a show that they've never even heard of. And it sounds, if you've not heard of a court show, it sounds fucking bananas to do that. Like, it's mental. So, but as it went on, it got easier. And then you would then you start targeting groups. So, like, my boss was like, "I want a wrestler." So I was like, all right. So I rang a wrestler and told him about it. And he was like,
Perfect for it. They're
Yeah.
all about the bullshit.
yeah, I spoke to one wrestler. He was like, "Yeah, I've got one. This guy did a move on me. It went wrong. I hurt my back. He should pay me money."
Yeah.
And literally right at the end, I was watching it going, "Fucking hell, this is real. Like, this is like really, really like amazing." I didn't realize how emotional he was about this. And he came off at the end. He went, "I was believable, wasn't it?" I was like, "Oh fucking, like, you even
good at the game.
tricked me."
Fucking kayfabe, innit?
Yeah. You should. Could you sort out Freddy with getting given Legionnaires?
Yeah. If it was still, I don't think he's on anymore.
Yeah, I can't say who. I definitely think gave it to me, but
Yeah.
there we go.
Well, you did do on the last week's Patreon.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So if you want to find out, subscribe to Patreon for £3 a month, or get a free trial now.
7-day free trial, baby.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Did I genuinely say the? Oh well.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
You
all right.
said the club and the.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like I'm rushing to go back there, is it?
Yeah, I think that bridge may be burned.
Can you give me cancer this time? Like,
So yeah, that's some of my stories about time. I'm sure I'll tell more as
Yeah.
we go on in the future, as long as you don't sack me.
No, I'm not gonna sack you now.
just
Well, that
use
is
me for this.
this is actually the last ever episode of Dead Men Talking.
Yeah. No, we'll carry on with that, Tom. Like, come on. Like,
I'm the best one.
I mean, that's definitely not true. But
I'm
yeah,
the most
fuck it.
manipulative.
Oh, 100%. And this is the thing, oftentimes on this podcast, we'll spend a lot of time talking about what a fucking sociopath Freddy is. And I think it gets overlooked what an amoral little cunt Tom is. So I'm glad the world now knows.
Do you know what, as well, is I think the reason that you were so successful in that... Well, actually, what do you think the reason that you were so successful is?
Because
I bet you he's going to say that he's smart and he's adaptable and stuff like that. That's what he's going to say.
I don't know. That's what because I'm really good at talking to people, and I'm really good at sort of changing my personality depending on who I'm talking to.
And I'll tell you, well, that's adaptable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Psychopath trait.
what the actual reason must be.
Yeah.
He's got a happy voice.
This is it.
Yeah, that's part of it.
It's
And
like, hello, would you like to come and do a lie detector? Has your missus been shagging your friend? That's really nasty. My mate Jeremy Kyle says that he's going to call him a big bastard for you.
You're not that far off, really. I would change my voice. Like, I'd be much more Warrington.
Go on.
I'd be. It's hard to do now, but I'd just.
Bring. Hello.
I
That's
can't
not
really
how
do it
anyone
now.
ringing up sounded.
I can't.
That's basically what I do. I just like really go like full Warrington / Manc accent, and
Do
like
you want to make
try
them
and-
feel comfortable, like they're speaking
Yeah.
to someone like them?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I do exactly that. And when I would
It's
train
like
other
a posh
people,
lad when there's a builder in his house.
yeah, pretty much.
Do you want a brew, lad?
I would train other people to do it as well,
Yeah.
and that's what I would say to them. Because like, you had some people who'd come on who were like quite posh, and I'd be like, "You just can't talk like that. It sounds like you're ringing a bank. You gotta
To be fair,
speak to the bank robber."
that's really good advice.
Yeah. It
Because
works.
there's no way somebody on a council estate gets ring. Hello, this is Emily Jackson Smithington. I'm wondering if you'd like to come to the Jeremy Kyle show.
Yeah, of course. No, they're like, I don't trust this person.
Yeah.
But so I would try and speak to them like that, which was not really that far off my accent. It was just a little bit more.
Yeah, but this whole thing is a sequence of, it's not really that bad.
There's a lot of things.
And when you get 1,000 not really that bad, you end up with
Yeah.
something really fucking bad.
Yeah.
It's all little baby steps, and they're all justifiable,
100%. Yeah.
and you can rationalize every single one of them. But before you know it, there's some fucking thick mentally ill guy dead.
Yeah.
You know,
Honest-
and loads of lives ruined. It was really destructive.
Yeah, it was,
Like,
yeah.
obviously, no, that isn't totally on your head. Obviously,
Nah.
you weren't on one series. You were an assistant producer.
If-
You weren't
were
running the
if,
show.
If there's a hell, I'm going for working on that.
Oh yeah,
Definitely. Like that-
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
even though I've done some nice things since then.
you'd have to do some fucking nice things.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's hell necessarily. I think it's more if the guy from Saw was real, he'd come after you.
To be honest,
Do you know what I mean?
if there was a hell, I'd just have to work on Jeremy Kyle forever.
Yeah.
That'd be my
And
hell.
like when you get to the pearly gates, that St. Peter would be like, right, to see if you can come in, let's do a little lie detector test.
Yeah.
They're about 94% accurate, I hear.
Yeah. And when you try to interrupt me, go talking like that.
Yeah. What a mad experience, though.
It was
mad.
it was mad, yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm sure I'll remember some other stories as we
Yeah.
carry on with the podcast.
Yeah. Fucking hell. It is mad, though. But like, yeah.
I don't know how much I'd be affected by it all. I'd be affected by the long hours. Like,
That was the hardest bit.
yeah.
Like,
Like,
now I'm over it and I can talk about it now. Honestly, for a long time, it definitely affected my mental health for ages. And then it did, like before today, when we went for Nanos, I was nervous today about talking. And when I first started talking, I was like, oh fuck.
I
Because
saw your hand. I saw your hand trembling at one point.
I'm still in fear of what the execs could do, even though I'm probably done with TV now. I probably don't work it anymore.
If they
and they're a very small part of TV,
Yeah.
but they had such like mad control over everyone. Like
Yeah.
they put us in so much
just
fear.
so
Those are the people who were the people. That's who I thought you were when I heard you were a Jeremy Kyle producer. I thought you were one of those
No,
guys, and
no,
those guys will burn in whatever hell forever, definitely. Like,
and just so
I
those
could-
people know, if
Yeah.
they send us so much as one email, we'll sack Tom instantly.
100%. If we can move up the chain, you're in.
Yeah.
But no, I do totally empathise with how you get into that situation, and like it's a human thing. Like people who are in evil is really mundane, you know. Like no one goes, "I'm going to go out and do evil shit today." You gradually get.
I
sucked
think
into
that
these
every
things.
morning.
You're not a human.
Tweak a little nipple.
Yeah. time for some evil.
Stroke my willy.
But, you know, and it's just, things like that happen just like with those gradual steps.
You just don't see it as evil. Even though there's like people outside the show, people will go, oh my God, I would never work on that. Or, oh my God, that's horrible.
But then you're like, you don't know what it's like.
Yeah. We are helping some people. Even now, I'm still saying we did help some people.
There's a camaraderie. There's a camaraderie that's been built up by you all being in a horrific situation.
The camaraderie was amazing.
It's like people who come back from war and they're like, oh, but I had some of the best times over there.
Yeah.
You're like, what, being shot at?
There's like now the intense bonds you make with people when you're in wild situations and stuff. Yeah.
And you have to laugh about it, about how mental it is as well. And like I say, when you're in it, you're such good mates with people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If like a contestant that was, a guest,
how do
Jeremy
you
Kyle,
win?
if they tracked you down and stabbed you, do you think that would be fair dues?
I'd be sad.
No, I know, but would you be
wouldn't.
I don't think. The thing is, I don't think though the guests would see it as my fault. I think they realise as well it was a part of this bigger thing.
But the thing is obviously
you were only following orders. Is what you're saying?
It's hard to get revenge as well against faceless execs. But I mean, you only live.
Let's cut that out, please.
Just bleep it. Just bleep over.
I
mean, they could set you on fire with the stuff that they bought from the petrol station around the corner.
Anyway, if you've got any complaints, send them into the studio.
There was one of my colleagues was getting death threats from. So there was this guy who came on who was like he was a bit of a gangster, to be fair, and he thought he'd been fucked over. And he was threatening to come to the studio and kill one of the other sister producers. So there was that was a worrying time for everyone for a little bit, but he never did.
To be fair, we've had similar shit on this podcast. It's like, you know, it's good to know he's learned from this situation and now no longer does evil things just because he's having a laugh with his mates. Anyway, subscribe to our Patreon.
We've not done anything evil on the podcast.
No. I would describe us as like chaotic neutral on that, you know, the alignment chart.
I think reading out that kid's CV was pretty evil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Reading Sienna Day's YouTube comments in front of her was pretty evil, I think.
Yeah,
although she took it great. But that's her job, isn't it? I like Sienna Day. I thought she was a good laugh.
Or when we, bullied Lad Baby.
They can fuck off.
Great. Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah. Anyway.
We've got lots of enemies.
Yeah.
I am thinking now which of the people who worked on Kyle will watch this episode.
Yeah.
Who do you think it is?
Well, no, Graham follows on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, Graham, the doctor. Yeah. Like, he's a shady fuck.
I don't think he's a doctor.
No, but he was like, was Barry Bennell the, head of, Youth Academy or physio or something at Crew under Dario O'Grady?
Rest of the boys.
He wasn't really a physio. He was just rubbing those boys for his own enjoyment. I think Graham was one of those psychologists. He's there, so, I'm a psychologist. Yeah. You're fine. And don't worry about it. Go home.
After Jeremy Kyle has spent half an hour screaming at them, calling them all fucking disgusting pond life scum. And he goes, well, Angie to Graham and the Aftercare team, you can just sometimes see Graham's face go,
yeah. When he called you pond life, how did that make you feel?
So Graham was like the head of Aftercare. And to be fair to him, if people were trying to get things through dodgily or lie on the checklist and stuff, he would take that really seriously. Because that was his head on the line there, really. He was the one who was in charge of making sure that none of that shit happened. But you can't police like we said before about the forms. People would get things through that they shouldn't.
Because you're incentivized too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're scared not to get them through. If your case drops, it's fucking devastating.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been doing it for all week and it drops the day, or even in studio. Someone would drop in studio.
Yeah. That's painful.
It was it was gutting. And you just got to do everything you can to just cling on. Please do it. Like, you just got to convince them this is the right thing to do. And if they go, they'll regret it forever and stuff.
But even though it isn't.
But I want
to. Man.
Yeah.
It's tough, innit? I don't want to start again working for another few hours. I'd rather you ruin your life. It is tough.
Yeah.
It is.
It's not just working for a few hours. If you drop cases all the time, you're not booking cases, you're getting sacked. And so it's your rent and it's your whole career. If you get sacked from that job, you're told that it could be your whole career gone. No, it's not, but you get told that it is.
That mad imbalance of power is just fucking crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Should we get they're powerful so we can do mad shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep following us and subscribing, and one day we'll be able to massively
And,
abuse some
yeah,
power.
yeah. And the best way for us to get power to abuse is through Patreon
It
subscription.
is. So why not start your free trial so we can become awful monsters?
Yeah.
Now that we know we have one in our midst who can guide us.
One.
How would you feel about getting a slave? So hear me out, right?
Right, give me the pitch.
Hear me out.
Right.
We take a child.
Yeah. Easiest person to make a slave. Yeah.
From, like those rubbish tips in Philippines,
Right.
where they're just sifting through looking for old fucking
Only
iPhone
3p,
batteries.
3p a day.
Yeah,
All we have to do is make their life better than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we bring them over here.
Yeah.
They can stay in Tom's house.
Yeah.
In you'll have like a shoebox under the stairs or something.
That's where I sleep.
So, and we basically it's like a shed or something, and we pay them £1 a day.
Yeah.
To come in here, and they just have to be our bitch.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Because it's better than what they had. It's a huge upgrade on what they had.
Sure. When you say they're our bitch, what does that entail?
Everything.
They have to go and get us stuff from the tip. Boys in England.
We're really good at sorting it. I always get shouted at when I go to the tips to throw things in the wrong bit. Like, I not have that problem anymore.
We could get them to empty that bin. We never empty the bin, do we?
That's true,
We get them to empty the bins because that's like home for them.
That's what we start them on.
Deja vu. Just get them to clean up and stuff.
Yeah.
Occasionally, if you want to be wanked off and you can't.
No,
be
see, that was the problem. That was what I was worried about. I was worried he was going to get around to
But
wank off.
look, for me personally, you've noticed that I get out of breath. I still have
very
urges.
easily by standing
I
up.
still have urges and
Yeah.
needs.
To be fair, where you dressed today, you look like you get out of breath crafting a shank. Like prison outfit.
But I.
You look like a gay cowboy, Tom.
No. A gay country singer's manager.
Yeah.
I totally see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Where I bought this and I went home and my wife said I look like a porn star. And I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah, but not a male one.
Well, I said to her, I don't think you watch much porn. They don't usually wear clothes.
Yeah, if you want to look like a porn star, just put on a Domino's outfit. Right, I think we should round this up.
This is it. It's been done.
It's been a weird episode.
It's been a bit of a different tone.
Yeah.
But I hope that you find it interesting because it's a deep dive.
This is it. And like the thing is, like me and Freddie have like deliberately never asked details about this because we wanted to find out with you. Like I didn't know any of these stories. I knew that you'd done that job, but I didn't know anything else about it. It's fucking mad.
Yeah. So that's a lot of bridges burnt for me.
Yeah. Do you want to apologise to anyone?
Nah.
Okay, cool. Lovely.
If this is your first episode, it's usually funnier than this.
It is usually a lot funnier than this, but usually loads less interesting. So, there's your balance. Yeah. Fucking hell.
Right, wrap it up. Take it home.
All right. Fuck off.